Hello, everybody. Welcome all to the Outside Insider as we continue our journey going through each of the Eagles draft contingents, their rookies for the 2025 season, and examining what exactly it is they bring to the table. So far, we've done Jihad Campbell, we've done Andrew Makuba, and on Monday, we looked at Ty Robinson. All glowing reviews so far. And now we turn our attention to I would say one of the more questionable picks. I don't think that's probably fair to say, but certainly the way it was done was a little questionable because the Eagles, big plus, added another Georgia Bulldog to the defense. And I'm sure the bookies would have given that very, very short odds ahead of the NFL draft. But adding two linebackers in a draft after they paid Zach Bourne certainly was a little confusing. And then obviously they drafted Jihad Campbell in round one. So you've got to fit all these guys somewhere. What does Mondon bring to the table? That's what we're going to be trying to figure out in today's video or stream. So we're going to be breaking down some tape if we can find it, and just trying to see what it is that we can expect out of him. Is he a more Jalix Hunt player? Are we going to see a baby Nakobe Dean? That sort of thing. Like, there's a lot to kind of sift through here. Just based off the fact that this is a later round selection out of Georgia, who clearly has another athletic, crazy upside. But is it someone that is going to be implemented in that defense early? Are we going to see him be a factor from the early goings, or is it more of a project player in a niche role? That's what we're going to try and figure out today. A huge shout there to Daniel. Happy everyone. Hey, I can't even read. Hey, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you too. And buy XRP. That's not financial advice from me, but alas, if you're into crypto, probably give it a look. And we'll dive into it. So let's see what we can cook up. So if we share screen, this is what I've got so far. So because he's a little bit of a under the radar prospect, I don't think we have any of the feature games, if that makes sense. So you can't just see Smael Mondon versus whoever, like you can with Makuba, like you can with Robinson. You do tend to have the more highlight packages, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like looking at highlights because you don't get the full picture. But having said that, there is one here for Tennessee's offensive line versus the Georgia defense. So the player we're looking for here is obviously numero 2. So we'll see if we can try and pick him out here. Obviously a linebacker. I don't think he's on the field in the early goings, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. Obviously, the Georgia defense has become renowned in recent years for being a very aggressive unit. Oh, hang on. Or is he number 4 there? Because this would have been... He changed. Oh, it's 2024. Do they do the other side of it? No, number 2. Okay, it's 2. I think he used to wear number 4, which is a little bit confusing. But he will be wearing jersey number 2. So he should be easy to pick out. He'll be in this... There he is. Okay, so straight away. Something we can take a look at then in terms of just how he's used at Georgia. They're running a slightly different set. As you can see, they've only got 2 boundary corners, largely because of how Tennessee are lined up. There's a lot of focus on the backfield. But Mondon looking like someone that could come down. Hypothetically, I would say it's going to be zone coverage, and he's just going to kind of sit here and maybe allow this safety to press down. Or the safety's going to blitz, and that safety's going to rock up. Like, we'll see. The safety drops back, so you've got 3 coverage linebackers just in a slightly different shape. All right, so I just want to watch me. All I'm kind of seeing or trying to see here is just how he reacts to the ball, how he reacts to the quarterback, how quickly does he move. Looked a little bit. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Obviously, this is one play, but very light on his feet. Almost a little bit too eager, I would say. Kind of lost a little bit of depth there by trying to gap forward, but also don't blame him because you are dealing with a potential, running back carry there. You've got to try and seal that hole. So certainly not a bad decision, but it's interesting to compare that to, even Makuba to a point. And I know they're different positions, but Makuba was a little bit more flat-footed, especially in coverage. Like, he would be very flat until, that last second. So just intriguing to see the parallels. You can see Mondon there. We'll go up to this play here. So he's actually here. And when the ball snapped again, very, very light on his toes, which I like that in a linebacker. Like, I want someone that's going to be light, that's going to bounce around, that isn't going to be, misled necessarily by quarterback throws or just kind of lured into sticking into place while someone runs behind you. Gives him a little bit of optionality. Reads this pretty well. He's kind of playing this little release valve route down the bottom. They do a shot deep and no dice. Flag for PI though. But we do get our first little cornerback rep, so we can have a look at that. Yeah, not the best. Don't think we'll be doing any star reviews here. So here you can see Mondon, little bit of a different position here. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly as well, by the way, Mondon. When's the last time we have a linebacker room this good and deep? That's a very good question. Off the top of my head, 2015, I would argue, where it was like the last year of D'Amico Ryans. It was the first year, I think, of Jordan Hicks. Michael Kendricks would have been there. Like, probably that, I guess, which is literally a decade ago. That's terrifying. 10 years ago. I mean, before that, because after that, you had the Kiko Alonso era. Or maybe the 2014 then, or am I getting confused? No, Alonso was 2016, right? I think. Windsor's 2017. Nice to see you in, Josh. Yeah, I would have gone with that. I think for the depth and the most complete room, I'd have probably gone with having the veteran in Mufasa, having little baby Simba there before the injuries, and obviously Michael Kendricks as well, who did have a bit of a resurgence that year. Like, you know, I remember the offseason before, people were clamoring for him to be traded and that he was too slow and this, that, and the other. So it would have been 2014 then. God, that's scary. Alonso was. I really wish Kiko Alonso turned into something, man. I think that's another one where injuries just really sort of ruled the day, unfortunately. Terrible trade in hindsight, but, you know, could have been, would have been, all of that good stuff. But we'll see what Mondon does here. Okay, very good. That's the first kind of eye-popping play we've seen. So he's on a blitz here. Little bit of a late start. Wasn't the fastest off the snap. But I think maybe that's by design, because 3's going to cut in here, which means Mondon can kind of run in towards the B gap potentially. Okay, he doesn't. He's going to follow him in. Collapse that. Takes on a block. So is he kind of manning up against the running back there? I'm trying to diagnose it as I go. I should watch it and then rewind it. Yeah, okay. So he's going to be manned up against the running back. 3's going to take the center. And then, yeah, Mondon's going to sift through traffic, meet that head on, generate some pressure. The pass does get complete. But the speed downhill is impressive. The downhill speed is there. So that is absolutely something the Eagles will be able to use. Next play. We finally got our first tackle. There we go. So that was nice. So we can kind of sift through these again. Yeah, nice, secure, round the waist. Nothing to moan about on that front. I wonder if part of the reason he did sink a little bit lower just would have been the size, because he is very undersized for a linebacker. Like, we can see him in this play here. Literally, so he's on the other side of the field. He's lining up kind of all over the gap here. Going to float out to his right. Again, very light. Very, very light on his feet. Yeah, takes a good angle. Nice hit. Not the worst play in the world. Nothing on him that side. I don't think he's on the field there. I think he might be getting a breather. I mean, first impressions of someone that can certainly be useful. But, you know, again, we're talking about, what, a 4th, 5th round pick here? So we're not expecting miracles and real gems to be like, oh my God, this guy's a starting level player sort of off the jump. Almost like a little tush push thing there going on there. So he's back on the field here. Yeah, I kind of like the way he's inched into that contact there with the offensive lineman. Kept a tall base. You can see him kind of shuffle towards, if you look at his hands. Now, this is interesting, just, you know, to note. Look at the matchup. Obviously, that's not going to end well for a linebacker that size. Doesn't really get knocked at all. So, despite the lack of apparent size, he's clearly got a little bit of pop to him. There's a flag in the backfield there. Was that on Mondon? No. Wins his rep there against the running backs. We'll just see him come off the edge here. Sets that nicely. It forces the quarterback outside. Unfortunately, it's a first down. But nice play to come downhill. A little bit flatter there. I don't know. Something about him in coverage, and I can't tell if it's just good or bad, but he's very, very... The only thing I can compare it to, and it's the most niche reference in the world, and no one is going to know what I'm on about, but the Canadian Grand Prix 2008 or 9, Adrian Sutil retired in the Force India, and his car like caught fire. And as he's running away from the car, he ran in a very like all his limbs were flimsy, and he's just kind of like jogging, and his arms are going everywhere. And it reminds me a little bit of that, and I don't know why. If someone does get that reference, it'll make me feel a little bit more sane about myself. I can't be bothered to search for an old Formula One clip from 2008. But his running is very, very loose. Loose is the term. I could have just said he's loose. That would probably do it far more justice. Got a little glimpse of him in coverage there, actually. This is nice. Okay, so we're going to see him, I believe, on number 19. Just have a little cut through here. Opens his hips nicely. Gains depth without really giving up much leverage. Stays in the hip pocket very nicely. Yeah, nice. Okay. I tell you what, he would be a bit of a menace out of the slot. Just if he's got that much flexibility and looseness to his game. Like, look how many changes of direction there are just in this little play here. So you can see, he looks like he's going to line up off the edge and blitz. He doesn't. He sets back into coverage. You've got a bit of a back pedal. Flips his hips one way. Plants that back leg because he sees where the receiver's going. Then flips them the other way. Turns and goes. And that should then shade into a safety anyway. The quarterback has to throw it away regardless. Incomplete. Luckily, we get a better view of it here. Just because you do have a little bit of safety help over the top. He knows that. His eyes are still on in the backfield. Still stays with the receiver. That's a really good rep. Just watch that in full. Yeah, really good rep. That receiver has got absolutely nowhere. But again, look at where his angle is. Look, the back foot's planted. Now he's going to open his hips the other way. Eyes still constantly looking at the quarterback, feeling his way up the route. Really nice in coverage. I want to see more of that. I will have to try and find a few Georgia defensive tapes here because this is something I wasn't quite expecting when I saw the build. I was expecting a very almost advanced Jalix Hunt type player. And the initial reaction here is someone that I think, again, very loose. Very, very loose. And I mean that in a really good way. In just that he's able to just glide kind of around the field, has a nice instinct and feel for the football and can just read the quarterback really well. He's not going to get suckered into plays and that sort of thing. So he's not in that play there, but he might be in this one. We'll have a look. Yeah, there he is. I think that's the only knock I'm going to be... look, if we were to get a scout report now from NFL.com, that would be the only thing I can imagine is that they're going to say size, he's going to get kind of knocked about a bit by guards at the second level and that sort of thing. Does he turn and get... Right, that annoys me a little bit, and it shouldn't do, really, because you've got so much help there. You know the running back's not going to get far. It does look like a little bit of a lack of effort, but it's one play. It's not that deep. He's still around the ball to make a play if it was needed. That's just me being very, very, very nitpicky. So please ignore that. That's just, part and parcel of being British, I suppose. If I find the negatives in everything. But also, I want to be fair. It's not, you can't also expect a player to run flat out constantly. But when you can do stuff like, was he on that play there? Or was that number 3? No, it was number 2. Yeah, he's coming around the edge a bit. Or was that 5? Why are they all wearing the same numbers or similar numbers? That is winding me up. Okay, now he's on. Pressure up the middle. Passing complete. No. Oh, good throw. He kind of got stymied a bit there. Again, this is the difference, I think, between him and like a Jahad Campbell. Like if Campbell makes that run, that's a sack all day. Like this is only, I say only, it's against a running back. It's not an offensive lineman. And he does just get completely stalled, despite having a total head of steam here on this blitz. No contact with the lineman, shoots the gap really well, and the running back's just able to really get a good block in there. He could be an elite pass protector. I don't know. I don't watch enough college football, but if you can see it from this view here, look, great. The first 3 seconds of this, hide behind the defensive tackle, read it well, eyes on the running back, like instinctively plays well, bends around, leaving no space, literally almost glides past his own teammate here to get momentum into that gap. And then just does get completely stifled and thrown into a tackle. And then it was a great play by the corner, but that could have easily been chain mover. You know, it's an out route. That was an easy chain mover. You need more depth there. And I think that's just going to be a size thing. Very intrigued to see if the Eagles are going to want him to bulk up or if they're happy with him playing at this size, just given, obviously, the jump in every fundamental ever that you're going to see at the next level. Nice hit there from him, though. Can't lie. That was all right. Yeah, it's stuff like that. He makes this tackle really well. But look, he's now being upended a bit. Has to kind of get off this block. Does really well to fight off it and help bring the player down. So it's not the biggest red flag ever. I can just see that being that. Like, that was quite nice. I think that was on a running back again, and he's just kind of got a lick back, I think, there for him. Just storms downhill and decides to knock him a bit. Doesn't do too much, and the ball is complete anyway. That's the only thing. Like, he's unable to really generate a ton of actual pass rushing pressure because by the time he hits a wall, it is literally hitting a wall. There isn't a way through it. Now, maybe stuff like that, for instance, can be worked around with learning some more pass rushing moves because I've not actually seen him use one yet when used in these situations. So maybe it's just a case of teach him how to spin, get him a swim, get him a club or a rip or a way to disengage a block because at the minute, just the sheer speed alone is not cutting it. But the angles he's taking are really good. Like, he's got everything else there. Like, if we just watch this again, I want to freeze it at just this point. So you've got to meet a fullback. It's a potential RPO. Look where his eyes are. Look at that big step wide. Then just to cut round completely. Obviously, 19 is going to be occupied with the other oncoming blitzer, so you can get around him nice and easy. Get away from the running back. He does that well. Focused on the quarterback. Loops round. Big sack. So, like, the instincts and the reading of it are there. And the speed is there and the athleticism's there. It's just the stopping power. If he was playing Call of Duty Zombies, it's just one trip to that little vending machine and you've got yourself a hell of a linebacker there. But this isn't someone that's going to be, you know, a Jahad Campbell level player. This is a very different use case. And I would put it more on a Jalix Hunt type player. You know, someone that can line up at edge, but also then just blend back into coverage, can stop down and that sort of thing. Like, I think that would be the better use case for him here. Coverage skills in a linebacker, not only key in Vic's scheme, but also today's NFL. And I think that might be the use case for him here. Like, I can't see him being a pass rushing linebacker as much as I can in coverage, just because instinctively really, really good. And I think like we've seen that in the few actual reps where he's taken a slot receiver or a tight end and he's flipped his hips really nicely, stays in phase, keeps his eyes on the quarterback, very athletic, so can travel really well with those nippier players. And he's not going to get totally knocked off, but then he can do things like that where he can get pressure and he just shoots stuff so quickly. But you can't expect him to do that bit constantly just because of that lack of size. But again, just look at how he moves on the way to the gap. He reads the game, and this isn't a good comparison like directly in terms of how the players play, but he reads the game in a very Nakobe Dean-esque way, which does not shock me, obviously, given that, you know, they were former teammates. They both played for Georgia. They've both grown in this system. And I really like that. I think this is going to be a kind of third linebacker option in those sets where if you've got, but then it's interesting because it's going to be Bourne, Campbell, Dean. Are you really looking at a potential long-term replacement here for Nakobe if Nakobe doesn't have a stellar year? That was a great rep. That was a really good rep here. Look at that. That's the sort of, I was going to swear then, that's the sort of lovely thing I would like to see. You can see him here. Oh, knob my screen, excuse me. We'll get back to it. Give me a minute. So you can see him there. Immediately take a little back step. Yeah, that's nice. We'll do it one more time. Okay, he loves an ability to gain depth without giving up traction. It's a really, really rare thing to see. Because normally as soon as you gain depth and you move further away, and the other player is still going that way, you are going to lose some momentum. You're going to lose maybe a step or two. And Mondon doesn't do that. He's able to kind of get around it. And then if you look at when the tight end does go for the ball, Mondon's still able to get his hands up there, locate the ball really well, doesn't give up a flag, breaks up the pass. I think coverage might be the place for him. I really do. If he was a little bit smaller, slot corner, and you've got yourself a gem of a player. But I think that kind of that Jalix Hunt-esque role is certainly where I see him playing. Biggest thing I've heard about him, says Bearbrain, he's a tight end eraser, which after that rep, I can certainly see why. A discount Nolan Smith, says Greg. Nice to see you in here, Greg. As always, my friend. Hope you're keeping well. This will end up the best I've ever felt about the linebacker rotation. That's a bold claim, but not a misplaced one. I think you're onto something there for sure. That's another one. Has he missed that tackle? I think he might have missed that tackle there. Oh, no, it wasn't him. Was it a false alarm? Just all the numbers look the same. All right, don't blame me. Blame Georgia for their numbers looking identical. And he was in that next play, though, coming off the edge here, just to try and seal that. Yeah, that's where he's going to struggle, because he kind of gave up. You just see him here with that tackle being upended a bit. Yeah, he's... Oh, it's a receiver doing that, sorry. So it's like, yeah, it's just a receiver getting into him. Difficult. It's difficult. I just wouldn't be deploying him there. But then he can do things like that. Like, yeah. Look, okay, against the pass, as in a pass rusher, great speed downhill, and then you just hit a wall and you can't do anything with that. I would much rather play him horizontally than I would vertically. Or, dare I say it, safety. Because he's a sure tackler. He's got the actual ability to wrap up bigger guys and isn't afraid to tackle. The click and close would be unbelievable. He reads the game really well. He's not short by any means. Do I say it? Like a box safety? Like in that kind of hybrid role? So like, I'm talking like 2-3 years down the line. I wouldn't move him to safety out the jump. But if you were to imagine a defense where you get all of these players on the field, right? So your front four would be Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, maybe Jahad Campbell on one side, but probably Bryce Huff for a minute, as much as we all hate to admit it, right? Linebackers, you'd have, let's just say Zach Bourne and Jahad Campbell, and then we'll leave Bryce Huff at defensive end, okay? Instead of a slot corner, potentially Mondon, outside corner 1, Quinion Mitchell, outside corner 2, Cooper DeJean, what are we at? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then one safety with Reed Blankenship. I don't know. I think there's some flexibility there. I'm intrigued. I'm just trying to cook stuff up. I'm just like really kind of thinking outside the box of how you can use him. I think Greg's onto something there with the corner blitzer comment. I think there's too much bulk at linebacker for him to be really effective consistently. But I do think there is opportunity if he's deployed in the right way. Perfect box safety. All right. I'm glad I'm not going crazy here. And it's not just the fact it's like 11:30 and my body clock's all ski whiff. Like, I think a box safety feels really, really good here. Like, and this is only one game. We're only halfway through it. But I think, to me, that feels like a really natural fit. Paul Robinson says he'll be a long-time Impact Eagle. That kind of comment gets me going, man. I love it. That's the kind of optimism I want. On a Wednesday night, that's the stuff. Just like, it's so nice as well to have a draft class and to look at these players one by one and for everyone to be getting excited about them. Like, nothing makes me happier just because I feel like we're just at some sort of like book club, where we all just go down and we share what we've read about the book and our opinions on it and stuff. It's the same thing. And you're all coming away saying that's the best book I've ever read. Like, it's a really cool thing. So just being a bit sappy here, and I think it's really cool that we get to do this on live. Darnie Jones, Ike Reese, and Jay Trotter was the best linebacker core I've seen as an Eagles fan. Showing my age a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit before I got into the team, to be fair. I think, who was the linebacker when I first? I can't even remember who the linebackers were. No, I can't. No, the name's gone. Wasn't Singleton. Was it Singleton? No, there was there was a. I'm spinning. Right, I'll have to Google it in a bit because I honestly can't remember. It was like 2008, 2009, and I wasn't really watching the team. But the first season I properly watched would have been 2010, I think. Or was it? Yeah, it must have been 2010. Like the Washington Monday night game, week 1. What's that week? Well, I don't know. Well, let's get back to some tape because my head can't keep up at the minute. That Jimmy at his best, though. JG had the vision. Stuart Bradley might have been. Could have probably. I'll trust your opinion over mine. I'm going to say might have been because you're definitely right. He might be starting next to Bourne if he beats out Trotter and if Campbell and Dean aren't healthy at the beginning of the season. Omar Gaither definitely sounds good. 2010 was a Brian Roll crew. Nice to see you, K1. Hope you. Oh, excuse me. Should have got a drink. Hope you're keeping well. Let's get to some tape before I cough my guts up. Right. In the meantime, I'm going to think of other Eagles linebackers that would have been 2010. Let me have a Google it while watching this. Is he playing there? That's not him, is it? Right. For some reason, I'd like the name. No, hang on. I'm going to Google it. Who do they have in 2009 at linebacker? Team Jordan. I was Jeremiah Trotter, Chris Go Kong, Tracy White, Will Witherspoon. Okay, none of them. It definitely wasn't 2009. So it must have been 2010. Still feels forever ago. And that was annoying as well, because like, when I actually first got into it, I could only watch highlights on NFL.com. So it wasn't really like, it wasn't shown over here back then. I was only 14. So I was just watching like, Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy just do things and be like, whoa, it's amazing. So that was my kind of entrance into it. But they had, Ernie Sims, Stuart Bradley, Moise Foku. But that was the Asante Samuel and Quinton McKell and Nate Allen season. So one before the Dream Team obviously kind of went a bit tits up. But regardless, that's fine. We had a rep there that I missed. I kind of want to go back and see that. But yeah, number 2. Yeah, he's just... I don't like him rushing the passer through the middle. I really don't. I think off the edge or from a cornerback blitz, as was suggested, I think that's definitely the better play to go. That was the DC experiment era. Now, Jordan Hicks, do you mean Jordan Hick is in the defensive coordinator or Jordan Hick is in the linebacker? Because Hicks was 2014, 15? 15. 2015. There could be 2. If I'm honest, coordinators for me, when I first got into them, I didn't know. Like, I was lucky to know a coach back then. Like, do you remember like the NFL top 10 plays? That was all I had to go off as a poor Brit. All I had. We've only just got running water here, let alone NFL highlights. It was rough times. Now every game's on TV where you can get them streamed and stuff, which makes it a million times easier. And you can obviously, learn your history and go back and things like that. That was better from Mondon. That was much better. But again, he's done well. Like, he fights through to finish. That was good. Like, he's been absolutely... I've gone back a bit too far here. But he is being ruined here by alignment and still spins the guy off to make the tackle. I think the initial impressions are that he is very savvy around the ball, very loose in coverage, very athletic. But he's just being used in a lot of pass rushing looks that I think he's kind of being wasted on. I think box safety. I would absolutely put him at box safety. Have him as a backup for DeJean in the slot even. If you really want to get him on the field. If you feel a desire to get him on there as a rookie. Outside of that, I think special teams are certainly going to be poised. This is nice. We actually get a view here of him more over the middle. Looks a little bit confused, to be honest. He kind of looks like, when you dress up as like a Power Ranger as a kid and you want to show your mum your outfit? Just sort of what that looks like, isn't it? Like, Mum, look, I'm Red Ranger. Anyway, we'll see what he does in the rest of the rep. Yeah, nothing much to report there, really. I like that he didn't bite. Because you've got traffic over the middle still. So, the quarterback could have easily turned the other way. Like, as much as he's looking there, if Mondon had ran to the left and this guy cuts across, which he is doing in the routlet, that would have been wide open. So, the feel of it is good. He gets more central, gets a little bit of depth here, which is nice. Replants his feet before taking off again when the ball's released. Like that's good. That's solid coverage, like fundamentals. You're not biting at all there. It's all you can kind of ask for from him. Another pass rushing. I just don't know why they're using him so much. I'm not going to question Kirby Smart because that would make me Kirby dumb. But I don't know why they're running him so much in these pass rushing sets where he just is better in coverage. Maybe it's out of necessity. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, having said that, he has had like 2 sacks this game as well. Like, let's not completely dispel it. He's not absolutely useless. He gets the job done. It's just not consistent, which is to be expected of someone that size. And I'm sure they are more than aware of that. But we are coming towards the end. That is the end of the game. So initial takeaways are good. We'll see if we can find another clip or another game because I am intrigued. We just done Texas. I feel like we've just done Texas. This is another Texas game. Let's just do Alabama. Alabama's probably going to be a better bet, isn't it? So we can do that. We'll quickly check the comments before we do. It's 31-17. That's why. Time to pin your ears back. Man, back then we love Browns linebackers. To be fair, I'm just happy the Browns thing just never ends. Like, no matter what Cleveland do, it's always weird. Like, even now with Andrew Berry there, like, there's just this element of, like, being linked to the Eagles. They're just still somehow lingering in some weird way. It's quite interesting. Like, especially with the Shador stuff, when that was almost going to be a thing in the draft for a good 5 minutes there. Right. Is he on the field in play 1? I believe so. Can't see the number. No, that wasn't him. Cool. Good start. There we go. Right. Again, downhill. Not mad at it. Does his job. I think he's trying to then clog the lane, but just a dive. You can't really stop a diving 300-pound offensive lineman. Funnily enough, I think you're not going to expect miracles out of him. Looked like he was calling. Okay, he wasn't on the field there. That was just looked like a. There was a number 2. There was a 4 next to it. I didn't see that. But we'll do the next play. Is he on the field? He was, but see, this is the kind of thing where I think he can be used. Like, get him nestled up here on this defensive line. Like, we'll look at the alignment there. Like, this here is absolutely where he's going to be lethal. Like, imagine a formation here. Okay, let me just spitball something in a minute. Where you have Bryce Huff or Nolan Smith. Okay, Carter, Davis. Pick another defensive end that you want. Galix Hunt, Mondon, Quignon, Adoree Jackson for now. Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, and Makuba. Or go one further and you have Huff, Campbell, Davis, Carter, Smith, and then Mondon here. Like, there's a lot you can do with the players that the Eagles have, and then just drop them back into coverage. Like, that's a genuinely really solid defense. You get all the young talents on there. And I think the danger of someone like Mondon is that, like, because he's not prolific at rushing the passer, he's gonna get overlooked in that regard. Because you assume that the Eagles aren't gonna use him as a blitzer or something. But when he does, like, he can absolutely go because of this wild athleticism he's got. And I think that can make for a really, really interesting possibility for Vic Fangio to try and tap into. Oh, cornerback rep. Here we go. That's what I like to see. Very handsy. Never mind. Just got one saucy cornerback rep. That's all I ask for in this life. We're fine at quarterback. McKee is solid. Long live Tanner. That's what I say. Bullet dodge on Sanders. Yeah, I think. Look, I'm not a big Dorian Thompson-Robinson guy, just purely because I feel like every time I've watched him play preseason, he has ruined my life, and I don't know why. I remember I played him in DraftKings fantasy lineups before that was banned in England. It used to ruin them. Watched him play against the Eagles, made me fall asleep. Not a fan of him. Tanner McKee offers just balls, I think, is what McKee offers, isn't it? He's just a little bit less fundamental, a little bit more just go out and make a statement. Reminds me very much of Dane Evans. For all the real Eagles sickos out there, the Dane Evans train back in what would have been 2019-ish. Ended up going to the CFL, tore it up there for a bit. But reminds me of that, of like, because there's almost like no pressure, he will just absolutely sling it and wants to make an impact and prove a point. By the way, that's a much better rep. That's a hugely good rep there from Mondon. What I was saying before, when I was like, there was one rep and he kind of wasn't really running back to the ball. This is much better. That's much better. Get in front of the player in the end, make the tackle. That's so much better. Bounces off. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Lovely. Great positioning. You're on cleanup duty. You haven't got to go and, make the mess any worse. And he did that. Yeah. Good stuff. Future MVP Jalen Milroe. Something about those Bama quarterbacks, isn't there? They keep on coming. Not in that way. Yeah, let's be. It's family show, guys. No play there. Is he on the field? Yes, he is. Yeah, kind of just swallowed up there, I think, by a lineman, but sort of to be expected there. Not on the field on that one. Here he goes. No, that's number 3. Oh, it's so confusing. Is it the line? Oh, he's the... No. Oh, all the numbers look the same on TV. All the single digit ones. It's really, really annoying. Definitely not on that one. There he is. Right, we're back. We're back. Don't worry. So... plays that hole well, keeps it shut. This is that depth thing I was on about. Hey, look, you don't stop running. I don't like that. Yes, he's going to score. But you're telling me you can run an extra step, put an arm out? It's a couple he's had like that, if I'm honest. And I'm trying to be... Look, what's that? He just gives up there. And I would say it's because they're down 14-0 and it's big undefeated Georgia and they're against Alabama and you're about to go 21-0 down. Your head's gone. Your head is absolutely gone. And if that happens in the... Am I being dramatic here? No, I agree, K1. Do you know what? I completely agree. I think that I'm not a fan of that. I forgave the first one. The second one, I was a bit more, it's sort of there. The third time, I noticed that he made up for it and had a really big effort play a couple plays ago. And then there's this. And I don't like that. And I don't know why it's not sitting well with me, because the guy was going to score anyway. I don't care if they're going to score. Don't do that. Do not do that. That's not in Philadelphia. That ain't going to fly. Do it in Cleveland. Do it with the Raiders. Do it with the Chargers. Miami, transient markets, no one really cares. Fine. Do that in Philadelphia, and that is all over the radio non-stop for about a week. Not a fan. Birdbrain does the same. Bottom of the depth chart on that one play. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm glad I'm not being too petty. And I'm not being too, over the top and dramatic. Because I never want these film rooms to just be me going, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he's not very good. All glazing players for no reason. I try and call it as I see it. Calling that bullshit is what it is. I'm not a fan. That's actually really annoyed me. Genuinely annoyed me. I can feel really tense inside. I'm going, I now get to watch it again from a different angle. Where's the moment? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Look, 17's still going. He ain't going to make the play. He's still trying. All you've got to do is one little tap and he goes over that pylon and it's first and goal. Not a fan of it. Grow up is what I say to that. Shocking behaviour. Anyway, we'll see if he can redeem himself a little bit later in this game. I'm going to tell you what I am intrigued about when we finish this and we look at the scouting report and see kind of what we got. I say right and wrong, but if the scout report agrees with us or disagrees, if it mentions effort or if it mentions anything to do with that. I don't know how you put that in a scout report because they kind of can't give like terrible ones. It's the same as like job references. Like I had a scout tell me once, like you're never gonna see this player sucks at this, sucks at this, sucks at this, sucks. It's gonna be like, oh, he's instead of saying like he's bad in coverage, it will be tight hipped. Or if he's bad at rushing the passer, it'll just be like needs more pass rushing moves. And I'm just talking like generic scout reports. So obviously, some of them can be true, which is fine. But that's but see, where was that? Where was that a player go? Because the other one, he would have stopped about there and just gone, fuck it, he's got the corner, doesn't matter. So yeah, going to be intrigued to see if anything does come up. But so we've got a inconsistent effort, I would put, which would, weigh on my evaluation of him. Gets tripped up and makes that play. There's the effort. Maybe he's angry at the last touchdown now. Is he going to run back for that? Is he on the field for that? No, he's probably having a drink. No, I don't think he's on. If he's on the field for this, I'm turning the report off. But I don't think he is. No, he's not. Okay. He gets away with it temporarily. God, Bama are running riot, aren't they? Oh, dear. Looked a little bit slow there on that blitz. This isn't been his finest game. Gains the ground back well, but something about that's not sitting right. I'll watch it again. Like I don't know what he's looking at. Was he just adjusting his mask and wasn't ready for the snap? Because the ball snapped here. He's on a blitz and he's not moved. Still not moved. There's the first step. And by this point, there's a running back in the flat. And the quarterback's like 2 steps into his drop. Now you've got an open lane. And for someone that's been very good at reading the quarterback's eyes, you can get a hand up there and try and block his vision, I would say. Because you're not going to get to him, are you? Realistically, you're not going to get to him. And you're staring right at him. And I think what he's done is realise he's late and just try and run as hard as he can. Because he's like, I've just got to get there and kind of make up time. Not saying that was his fault, but he certainly didn't help it. If you watch it in full speed, yeah, he was just caught off guard. I think just completely caught off guard. Well, I can see why now he was drafted a bit later. Yeah, this is a bad game for Georgia all round. Well, if I'm honest, that's kind of what you want, right? Like, if we look at bad games, it gets you a better view of the player. And this is the thing, like, if the Eagles draft a player and your first instinct, and it's not wrong to do, but if you just watch highlights, you just get rose-tinted glasses and you only see the good stuff in college. Like, Jesus, if we all just went to YouTube and watched JJ Arthega-Whiteside highlights and nothing else, we'd have all glazed ourselves into thinking he's the second coming of Alshon Jeffrey. And then he gets there and you're like, well, this sucks. Jalen Reagor was the same. And I think I can put my hands up with that as well. If you see bad games and you can kind of see what the weak points are or what might hurt him at the next level, you get a more balanced view and you can learn a much more clearer picture of how he is as a player. So I don't mind it. They use words like poor or underdeveloped, which is fair enough. He was looking left and started that way. If Milroe ever learns to throw with touch, he'll be dangerous. Yeah, he's looking pretty good here. Yeah, Reagor got me bad. Reagor really wound me up because he ticked every box I could have ever wanted him to. That was a good play. And yet just didn't work out. And I must have missed a beat somewhere. Was that him? That was nice. See, this is better. That was better. Look at that. So he's got pop like this. Okay, this is why he's a project linebacker because he can do that. He just Bron Breaker speared someone. Really, like from that angle as well. Look, so if he's here, right? Kind of shadowing out for the flat for the running back. Then realizes, oh, bollocks, runs back across. And just... Okay, so the receiver didn't have possession of the ball. That's made it a little less impressive because I thought he did. But... turns into a pick. I didn't realize it turned into a pick. Nice. Yeah, good play. Very good play. Nice tackle. So, yeah. So he's got a lot of flashes. A lot of flashes. And look, he made Oh, what was that tackle? There's two of you on him here. I mean, you've leapt on him. You put your hands on him. Was that a face mask, Mr. Mondon? Let me... Where's that hand going? Yeah, I can't tell if he's grabbed a face mask there, because that looks a bit iffy to me. Might not have been. And look, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, so I won't be doing that on this stream. But looks a little bit like just a bit of a bad angle. We complimentary, it was a bad angle. Probably the best that we can say about that. Where's the effort here? Where's he gone? Jogging again, man! Stop jogging! Look! I know they've got players there, but if he spins them out like this and is able to run away, it's on you to make the stop. And you're not there because you're jogging, mate. You're not running the marathon. Okay? They need it. Oh, it's a sour me a bit. It's a sour me. Look, again, I understand now why he was drafted where he was drafted. And I understand why the Eagles drafted him. Because he can do a lot. He's very athletic. He's very quick. And he's got all the intangibles of what I think would be a really, really good box safety if they can carve him. And we have to bear in mind that the Eagles have probably got a really good feel for Georgia players just because of how many they have. And they're going to consult Nakobe, they're going to consult Jalen and Jordan and all these guys and just ask about them. They wouldn't have selected them if they didn't think they could cultivate the best environment for him. And I'll believe in that, you know, to kind of bring the best out of him. If they can bring the best and his best becomes the norm, that's a player worthy of a second-round pick. Like, you know, maybe late first, if we're being complimentary. Where's the effort here? How's this looking? That's nice. That's nice. It reads it well. Yeah, it's all right. See, now I'm just concerned about the effort. I'm just constantly looking to see if he's running. That was a sweet force fumble there, yeah. I didn't even know that was the second quarter. Special teams is where he lives, or the practice squad. Yeah, I think for the time being, it's definitely going to be special teams. Like, preseason will be fun. I think it'll be fun to see him just kind of fly around the defense for a bit, get a taster, and maybe lay some hits on people, see what he's like in coverage. If I was to project 5-year upside, ideally, start in box safety. Reality, rotation. Sorry, what in the Devontae Smith have I just seen there? What's that? Oh, it's not even the catch. It's the little spin. Hang on, pops it up. Catches it with one hand. And in motion. What's that move? Yeah, no idea who this guy is, but I like him. He's pretty cool. Get him on the Eagles. They don't even need a receiver. I don't care. Get him in. He's tremendous. Yeah, another little Mondon jog around the top, but nothing to be overly mad about. We're now into the fourth quarter, though, so, you know, that's fine. They've not conceded any more points since... Oh, my microphone's come out. I don't know if you can hear me. I've not seen anything from him in this game. You say yeah. I mean, I don't know if that means... okay, you can hear my iMac. That's fine. Anything yet means it's something coming. Is that going to go in there? The iMac one works fine. Yeah, I mean, it's been a good game to watch outside of the Mondon mundanity. But I'll tell you what, we'll end it on a high, and when this finishes, we will watch an actual highlights reel and do what I advise against, just so we can get a look at the good stuff as well. Number 2, Ryan Williams. Is that the guy that did the big catchy, jumpy, spinny, cutty, jumpy thing? Because I agree. Probably number 1. Unbelievable. No, probably not number 1. Great player, though, by the looks of it. I've only watched one game. I'm trying to fix his microphone, and it's just not going in. Not the first time we've heard that, boys. Not the last time. That's all right. Yeah, we'll leave that. We'll just use the iMac one. Hopefully the audio is not too bad anyway. How long have we got left here? We've got 2 minutes. Is he on the field? He is on the field. Bit slow again there. A little bit slow again. Too busy yapping, talking about last night's episode of Love on the Spectrum or something. That's the first show. If anyone's watched that on Netflix, by the way, most wholesome show I've ever seen in my life, and I cannot recommend it enough. I absolutely adore all of them. I want to just protect them at all costs and give them all big hugs and tell them that they're really special and that everyone loves them and they can never have to worry about anything again because they're adorable, like in the nicest way. So yeah, if you want to watch a wholesome show, Love on the Spectrum, because it's just tremendous. It's just such a feel-good show, and it talks about like autism in the right way. And if I'm honest, it gave me a newfound appreciation for what the Eagles do with the Autism Foundation. So there's that. Because you don't really notice how, oh, he's off again. Sorry, Love on the Spectrum. I think I've just got love with William. This is ridiculous. What? Sorry, look, I know this is a smack on video, but what is that? It gets better every time I watch it. It physically gets better every time I watch it. Oh. I'm going to stop. I'm going to check the comments. I can't. I can't handle it. This is ridiculous. 17 years old. The Lion song. Oh, is this the Abbey one? Mate, adorable. No, it's nice to see you, SC Birds fan. I hope you're keeping well, my friend. Duty's nasty led Bammer in receiving yards at 17-18. This is insane. Sorry, look. I'll level with you. I thought you were making a comment, Bird Brain, about Mondon and saying we haven't seen anything from him this game. So I was like, oh, maybe he makes a big play. And I was kind of looking out for Mondon on the field. 2 seconds later, I see. Can we just watch highlights of Williams instead? That's all right. One more, and I promise I'll stop. But this is the most outrageous thing I think I've ever seen. And again. Oh, so good. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's a player. That is a player right there. Jesus. Whew, I might have to end the stream now. I've got to take a time out. I need to get my composure. That is. Oh, we get another view. We get another view. If you were watching this live, was your reaction like mine? Because that's genuinely ridiculous. Oh my God. Well, I think I might have a new favourite draft prospect whenever he breaks out. Because if he's only 17, he's got to be what, like, first year? He'll be eligible to be drafted at 19. So that's next year. So that'll be what, junior season? Or am I, yeah, maybe? Crazy, man. That is a. That's an unbelievable player. Wow. All right. Like I said, I didn't want to do this. There isn't a lot of tape out there. And I figured this might be the best way to go about it. So we're going to have one last perusal of Mondon highlights to see other things that he can or can't do. He turned 18 in February. See, reading that makes you feel old now, though, K1. I've just turned 30. Just turned 30. He's turned 18. So you'd have been born in, what, 2007? Oh, God. Oh, that hurts. Okay, that was. See, this is the thing with highlights. Every play is then a good play. Jumps that really well. And all, yeah, you can kind of see against lower opposition, the whole getting stonewalled on pass rushing doesn't really apply because they suck. Oh, hello. Sorry, what did he do there? He's jumped the ball. Yeah, crazy. That was cool. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Could have been a little pick six for number 7, but alas. See, Tennessee are a better program, I think. They're 8-1. They should be good. What does he do here? Oh, we watched that game. Ignore me. LSU, they're a good team. Is it rushing the passer again? Oh. Oh, the effort's there now, by the way. Oh, see. Okay. Yeah, the effort's there on that one. Now the ball's near him. Sorry, I'll stop being mean and passive aggressive. That's not nice. That's better. Yeah, I mean, right. That play there is what I'm going to call a Bryce Huff highlight. That is what Bryce Huff did with the Jets. And when we watched the Bryce Huff Jets tape, every play was like that. And we were like, why have we never heard about this guy that had like 10 sacks last year? And then you watch the 10 sacks and they're all like that. And you go, oh, okay. Crazy thing, he may not ever be, or even be the best freshman receiver. Jeremiah Smith. Dude, what do Alabama cook up in these recruiting meetings? I don't know what they bribe players with to get them there. I don't know how they develop these absolute specimens. But like Alabama wideouts for years now have just been absolutely ridiculous. Like, you know, hate to say Henry Ruggs, but you had Waddle, Smitty, countless others before them. Like, it's just been like a run of Alabama receivers that just break everything. Terrifying. All right, Oregon, they were good last year, I think. Yeah, another one off the edge. Yeah, okay, he's all right. Good play. Tackle for a loss. So they've got something there. And this is but all. Have you noticed that all of the highlights are pass rushing plays? But when we talk about what he actually does well, I don't think much of it is pass rushing. I think he's much better in coverage because he's so like just loose and flippy and instinctive and reads the game really well. Very interesting. I think I've seen a single coverage highlight in the highlights. And then you're going to watch that and think, oh, yeah, he's going to be great at like rushing the passer off the edge. It's like, well, he's probably not, to be honest. And that's okay. I don't want him to. That was nice. Right. I've made up my mind. I want to read a scout report. What's he called? I almost said Somali then. Smael Mondon scout report. See what NFL.com said. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to grade him. And to do that, I have to go to my actual sheet, which is here. So give me 2 seconds because I have to change. Oh, I've got to sign in. Please don't log me out of YouTube because that won't go very well. Oh, hang on. I was going to get my evaluation sheet up. I don't think I actually did one for linebackers. Jeremiah Smith plays for Ohio State. Okay. I'll keep a note of that. And what I need to do is then, bear with me, do this. So this is my kind of sheet for draft grades. And basically, any score over 40 is like first round pick. That I would say. So, like, for instance, if for anyone that's new and hasn't seen this, you know, Kenneth Grant had 32, went to the Dolphins. Ty Robinson had there. That's been the most valuable pick so far. Ty Robinson in the 4th, who graded out just shy of Walter Nolan to my grades. All right, I'm not a scout. Derek Harmon, 45, says all you need to know. At edge, James Pierce Jr., 43. Safety, Malachi Starks, 38. Kevin Winston, 41. Makuba, 39. So you can kind of see where we... Like, it's not... Weirdly enough, it's not that far away, a lot of them, from reality. Like, Makuba was a second. Winston, I think, was a second. Starks was a first, I think, late first. So we'll do one for linebacker. So what do we value in linebackers? 5 traits we value. So coverage... coverage. I'd say agility because I want lateral speed. Like I want someone to go sideline to sideline. Strength. Yeah, I'll put tackling. But yeah, we'll just put tackling. Courage, agility, tackling, instincts, and I'm trying to think of one that's just a good that doesn't interlope with the other ones, because then you can just put you can't put motor and effort together, for instance. And motor you can't really grade with a linebacker. And I know the thing is, I want to put effort, and I know if I put effort, he's going to get 3 out of 10, and it's just not going to go well. Well, we'll just play run defense. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. It's a very vague term, I know. Coverage 8 from what we've seen. I think that's probably a fair one. Maybe we'll go 8.5. I think he was very good. Agility is definitely an 8.5. Tackling's probably a 7. Instinct's probably an 8. And then the run defense, I'd put at 6.5. Because I'm thinking with that, I'm just going to put line of scrimmage. I'm going to put anything that's downhill, whether it's penetrating, pass rushing, that sort of thing. I think that's probably fair, right? I'm just trying to find a way to sum all of this up. Yeah, and that puts him at 30, which, is better, nearly better than Kenneth Grant. But that's what you're expecting, right? I don't think that's far away from accurate for a player that was drafted in, the 5th round to get 30 out of 50. So, all right, let's get on to the actual scout report. Set the edge motor. Yeah, like that. I was trying to coin a term or a word where it wouldn't, like I said, overlap with anything. And yeah, it's all right. We got what we needed. We made it work. Right, let's see what the scouts actually say then. So, athleticism 84, total score 75, 4.5. We've got his height on here. 6'2", shorter than me. Could knock him out. No, I'm joking. This is by Lance Zierlein. Mondon is physical and can run. See, this is what I mean when I said about the scout reports never being bad. Physical and can run is describing me as he's English and he can write. That doesn't tell me much. He's quick to flow downhill, agreed, and challenges blocks with good pop, agreed. He's inconsistent to diagnose and flow accurately to his hits, but has good pursuit speeds and range to tackles on the sidelines, pursues the action with focus and leverage. Debatable at times. Tackle readying quickly to space. He's effective on passing down to good coverage and blitz talent. Run game instincts could slow him early in his career, but he's battle-tested, 3-down option with special teams value. Right. Vast experience in high leverage games. Don't doubt that. Takes on blocks, yeah. Pursues outside runs, yeah. Reliable tackler with plus athleticism and technique. Fair enough. Fluid in space. I said he ran like prime Adrian Sutil. Doesn't get more fluid than that. With above average range in zone. Man cover talent, yeah, with ability to disrupt the catch. Completely agree. Yeah, I think that's probably his biggest strength, to be honest. Rips downhill with good elusiveness. That I would absolutely agree with. I think if he's very shifty, he's very slippery. It's just when he gets caught, he's sort of like, do you ever have those aliens in America, and the little eggs, the little toy aliens, and you pick them out and they'd be all gooey, and it's you could lob them at someone's head and they just stick to the head. He's like that, really slippery. But if you lob an alien at the head, he's just staying there. Undersized with a frame that might be maxed out. Hobbled by a foot injury for most of 2023 and part of 24. Interesting. Play tends to be more reactive than instinctive. Okay. Inconsistent to key and diagnose the action, which is interesting because he pursues the action with focus and leverage. Makes you wonder. Erratic with run fits and contained duties. Occasionally loses track of play action coverage. Okay. So we can all agree a project player with someone that does flash a lot of upside. Athletically, he's got it all there. Experience with a very successful program with players that he's been around for a long time that can bring the best out of him, but just lacks the cherry on the cake. Right now, it's like a store-made cake, all right? It's not one you made yourself. It's not quite as good. It's not quite as nice. It's not a homemade cake, but it will do the job if you put it in the oven, and it just needs to be cooked properly, and I think that's kind of where we're at. I think for a 5th round pick, it's a good, selection to gamble on. You're gambling on someone that has, again, the right fundamentals that I think become a box safety. I think that would absolutely be where I put him. George says he's kind of similar to Trot Jr. and he's more reactive, and that's why he's so slow, which would make sense. Or not so slow, but why he's slow. That would make sense. And I think Trot kind of has that more physical prowess about him that would at least keep him in the middle and make him a more suitable fit for linebacker. I think Mondon, for me, just feels like a box safety or a hybrid player in time if he gets to that point. But if not, at least a valuable special teamer that does have some upside. So we shall see. But that's it for today's stream. So I appreciate you all for hanging out and watching. Thank you so much for spending your evening watching some very varied tape of a new Eagles rookie, and of course finding a brand new draft crush in Ryan Williams in the future, because that man is just going to be something truly special. We should be back on Friday to do the next selection. If not, it will be Monday. So Friday streams are always a little bit iffy just because I've got stuff on the Saturday. So if I don't see you Friday at 6 p.m., it will be Monday at 6 p.m. But in the meantime, thank you again for hanging out. If you want to subscribe and leave a like just as you leave the theatre, that would be tremendous. If not, I am taking it personally and I will cry my eyes out. But until then, when we go over a couple more Eagles picks, I will see you on the flippity flip. Go Birds, and enjoy the rest of your evening.